What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. This is going to be another 2020 review on something different and out of the ordinary in terms of releasing an album from a band, but this is going to be on an album from one musician, hence the title onto this video, which I will be talking about right here. I'm going to be reviewing the new solo album from none other than the man Corey Taylor, entitled CMFT. This was released through Roadrunner Records. Corey Taylor, loads of people know him on who he is as a person and as a musician. Very much infamous on being in one of the most destructive, hateful, in-your-face, punishing, immense, brutal, and assaulting bands in modern metal of Slipknot to another band that has been around for more than 20 years in Stone Sour. And Corey has been doing various projects, guest vocals, production on anything that's outside those two acts of modern era of music. So I was actually really surprised and was looking forward to hear Corey going into a totally new direction, a new form of expression and sound. And I'll have to say it, just because that you love Slipknot or Stone Sour, or even both, even me being a fan of Slipknot a lot, does not mean that you should give Corey a lot of the hateful comments and to disrespect his choice, because this is what he wanted to do, and if you can't handle it, then don't waste your time. I will have to say that this particular album, from my experience, I was a little underwhelmed at first, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought about the album, I repeated the record, and I gotta say that this album is actually one of these very average, but still very enjoyable records in this whole entire year. This is a record that was worth of a compromise, and just because that it's not heavy, it's not as aggressive, doesn't mean that it has to be bad. Corey's been going through many different tastes, not only in metal, but he loves other genres, from rock to hip-hop and other genres alike. This is no word of a lie that if Corey is happy with this album, as many fans say that they are happy to hear this kind of stuff, then I am happy for him. So with this album, this music on these songs, a lot of it is very rock driven, some parts of something poppy, some parts of something very countrified in spots. But if this is the way Corey is going to go for next few years, if he's going to make much more material in a solo career, besides going into the two main bands that he's famous for, then that's up to him, and I have no disrespect whatsoever. The opening song on the album, Highway 666, presents the album on a surprising note with some of these dramatic, acoustic, quick playing guitars to hearing the sound of Corey and his backing band with the distorted guitar riffs. And I actually quite like this song. It's got a very exciting amount of structure and some of the dramatic choruses with Corey singing. It's to me like a bit of a mixture, something like that Tenacious D would do. Some of the lower tune riffs can be something a little heavy-ish, but nothing really too abrasive or as destructive, obviously. So this kind of song is, to me, really good to start the album. The next track on the album, Black Eyes Blue, this is something much more mellower, and Corey goes into a melodic range on his singing, and I actually really like this song. I do like the sound and the tone to the song, and I gotta say that Corey's vocals on this album alone are very, very good. Clean and spot on, and some of his harmonies were excellent. And Black Eyes Blue is one of those examples. Then we go to some of the later tracks, like, personally for me, the most beautiful song on the album, entitled Home. This is just Corey playing the piano with these chords and to hear him at a raw sounding and a heartfelt form. This is something very personal, lyrically, like a love message to his now wife. I can hear and feel the soulful, emotional kind of sound and aspects that this song has been providing to us. This is a really nice song, and it's personally, for me, the favorite on the album. As much as I liked some of the other tracks, but this song just takes it home for me, just to be very simple, but even if it's something simple, it does grab a listener on its sound. There are songs on here that are quick tempo changes to some of these faster, energized riffs, but when I think about that, these structures on tracks can be really predictable and samey and repetitive, like on the songs of Samantha's Gone to Kansas. I find there were some points on this album that some lyrics can be really on the nose and cringeworthy and cheesy, especially on Not One of These perfectly descriptive, more onto the sappy-ish kind of lyrics, like on the Maria Fire, and I think there is a lot of repetition on some points, especially on the track Minor Looks, which is pretty much multiple repeats of the same chorus over and over again than adding anything flavorful or much more dynamic. It never stood out to me as one of the other highlights on the album. There's a lot of points of the album that Corey can be full of angsty, aggressive, and a political side, mostly onto the song Culture Head. Like the instrumentation to the album, and Corey's vocals have his own punch. However, the riffs to this song remind me on half of a bit of Stone Sour and a tiny bit of a Rage Against the Machine feel, a really good amount of the punishing and catchy aggression, a song that was straight to the point. There were some filler songs that I really don't care for, especially on the tracks of Halfway Down, which is decent. Last track, the European Tour Bus Bathroom song, which to me is the fastest number on the album, but strangely it made me think of a bit of a rip-off of a skate, punky, no effects kind of sound. Now I know that this album was made for the fun of it, and some people don't accept that for what it is and to take it way too seriously to say that this kind of material is terrible. There is a lot of that kind of feel. It has a lot of the fun stuff, but it is sometimes, again, on that word cheesy, but some people do like to accept the record for that reason, and good for you if you are one of those kinds of people. Unfortunately, to me, the only song that I really don't like on the album, that was just too over the top on its sound being very, very cringeworthy and more or less to me an embarrassment, is the title track, CMFT Must Be Stopped, with Tech9 and Kid Buki on guest rapping vocals. Don't get me wrong, the sound of this song, basic riffs and a lot of the fast rapping, even on some chops, but to me, this was just the silliest and horrendous song of the album. Does not get along with me whatsoever. I think it would have been much more relevant if this was made back in the late 90s or the 2000s, and to hear it at this state is devoid and a terrible way of this kind of song. One of the other great things about this album is the production. The production is great. I really do love the sound of the drums. They are showing themselves with its hitting, attacking sound, and the lead guitar works. Some very crisp and brilliant sound, dynamic, and the musicianship on lots of these songs do, for the most part, deliver very passionately. It's a really passionate album that I do accept and highly respect for what it is. And despite the negatives that I had said, this is not as bad as some people turn this record out to be in that opposite form of expression. So this album is not great. It's not strong. Still one of those albums, hit or miss, but it does have some soft spots that I can dig some of this kind of stuff in this point of time, especially for Corey to experiment and to explore whatever he wants to do, and I am happy, the more the merrier, for him to go into this direction. And that's all I have to say about this new album, CMFT by Corey Taylor, and I'm also interested to know what you think of this album. Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to give this album a 5 out of 10. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.